Welcome back to our series on repairing the illustrious Speedway 5. Now we're going to start working on replacing the rear fender. And the way that's done is you undo the bolts, the 4 bolts on each side. And that's, I believe, a 4mm. And then you're going to have to undo the pins on each one of these connectors. Now, if you can see, I've marked this with blue tape. The wires that come out of it are green, red, black, and yellow. So if you trace them down, each one, the red goes to the green connector, but you have to break this pin out, pop out each one using a pick. I use a pick set that they recommend. And then you must do each one. The black is here with the yellow, and so forth. The green goes to the red connector, and the yellow goes to the blue connector, and they all go in a specific spot. And so I'm just going to take video of this for my reference later. So this is facing upwards with the clip facing up. It goes to the second one there. Here's where the black one goes in the middle here of the yellow one. And then moving over to the green wire, it actually plugs into the red set here, but is the first wire in this set. And then the blue and yellow, the yellow is the second wire of this set that goes to the blue. And we're going to go ahead and take the pick and do that now. As you can see here, I've picked out 3 wires from the taillights already. And the way we're going to do it is just push the pin down. Let me show you here, just a moment. If you see the plugs have a space there that's on the lower end, you take the pick and you push it down to the lower area where it's an empty slot and then slide it out. So now we're almost ready to change the rear fender. We just have one more wire to go, which is the yellow wire, which I'm going to pick out now. Unfortunately, I have no one to hold the camera for me. So now we're going to go ahead and try to take out this yellow wire, which is the last one, and as you see, we're going to take the pick and we're going to go down and poke it out through the hole. And as you can see, my other ride is a Dualtron Storm with these crazy 780 bars. But believe me, they give you a lot of dexterity, and they give you the ability to carry many, many lights. Right now I'm using one of the lights over here, fixing the Speedway 5. Because these Victron lights are just so great. But this one goes right here. Anyway, you can see the same setup there. And I use the 780 bars because I don't yet have the SRX stabilizer still on order. But as soon as I get that, we'll do an installation video on that, just as Mike has done for mini motors. Back to the Speedway 5 and the new rear fender installation. Here is the new rear fender for mini motors. For the Speedway 5. And we're going to attach it here, first bolt it on with the 4mm bolts, and then we're going to do the wiring and attach it to the wiring. And push the push pins through the different blocks. These are the receiver blocks. But on these initial blocks, we're going to add back the wiring that goes to the Speedway 5 rear fender. After that, we're going to install this new rear wheel motor and wheel tire assembly. And I'm going to show you how we're going to finish up running this new wire through the body. And then we're also going to replace the speed controller and do a few other things later. Now we have our fender prepped. I just have a tool stand using there. I'm using that as a prop. But I'm going to put the 4 screws in. There they are. I'm going to put the new fender on and show you how to do the wiring and plug it back up. First, let's start by bolting on the new fender onto the rear carrier. And now we have the bumper attached, and we have the line threaded through the blinker hole. There's a hole right there, you see. And we're ready to reattach the wires. And now we're ready to run the wires. As you see, they've been run through the blinker hole. And now we're actually going to take these wires and we're going to attach them to their counterparts. And just plug them back in, using the pick to set them back in the correct position. And now you see we have the Speedway 5 fender attached. We're ready to do the wiring. And we're going to go ahead and we've already plugged the wires through the blinker, you see here, through the blinker port, so we can actually bury it back inside the body. And then we're going to go ahead and attach the wires to each one of their counterparts. Okay, I have the rear tail lights all wired up, and the blinker lights and so forth, and let's go ahead and test it out and see if it works. And we'll turn on the scooter. And we'll pull on the one brake, and the light works. Tail light works. Pull on the one brake, pull on the other brake, and the light works. We're in good shape. Once we get the brakes put back on, we can check the wiring once again, and we'll be able to verify that the wiring is correct. But for right now, I'm going to move on to installing the new wheel and wheel motor, and I'll show you how to thread the wire for the new wheel and wheel motor. And we started out by removing the old one and then putting a string through the body, so that way we could come back later, just an old shoelace here, we could come back later and pull the wire through if we needed to. It should be able to go right through, but if not, we have a shoelace through the body to be able to pull it through. And then we're going to replace the speed controller here and test it out.